Hello and welcome to Stage 5, Lesson 68. Let's get started. Opinion, opinion, would you say, would you say. Opinion, your opinion is what you think of something. And would you say is an expression we use when we ask somebody about their opinion about something. When do we use the expression would you say? When do we use the expression would you say? We use the expression would you say when we ask somebody about their opinion about something. Would you say that a king's life was better than that of an ordinary man? Would you say that a king's life was better than that of an ordinary man? Yes, I'd say. Yes, I'd say that the king's life was better than that of an ordinary man. Notice that we use the past tense after the expression would you say because it's part of a conditional construction. Which tense do we use after the expression would you say? Which tense do we use after the expression would you say? We use the past tense after the expression would you say. What would you say was the best way to remember something? What would you say was the best way to remember something? I'd say the best way to remember something was to repeat it often. Look plus adjective. Look plus adjective. This is a construction which we use when we describe something. For example, the sky looks beautiful today, or it looks sunny. Or sometimes the sky looks dark and cloudy, so you decide not to go out. Or if I work too much, maybe I look tired, and so on. If the sky looks dark and clouded, you sometimes decide not to go out. If the sky looks dark and clouded, you sometimes decide not to go out. Yes, if the sky looks dark and cloudy, I sometimes decide not to go out. When your shoes look dirty, what do you do? When your shoes look dirty, what do you do? When my shoes look dirty, I clean them. Get in, get out of, get on, get off. Taxi, fare. Let's start with taxi. You know the word taxi. It's a car where you pay the driver to take you to a place. Fare is the money you pay for transportation. So you have a taxi fare, bus fare, tram fare, air fare, and so on. Get in and get out of are used with things like taxi. You get in a taxi, you get out of a taxi. You get in a car and you get out of a car. Get on, get off are used with, for example, a bus or train. You get on a bus and you get off a bus. To help you remember when to use in and on, I use a little trick. We use in typically with vehicles in which you are inside and you have to sit. You cannot stand up. For example, you sit in a car, you cannot stand up, you are in a car. Or you are in a tractor, for example. But if you can stand up and walk around, like you can stand up on a bus and walk around, or you can stand up on a train or airplane and so on, you are on a bus, on a train, on an airplane. And we use get off with these things. So do we pay the driver when we get in a taxi? Do we pay the driver when we get in a taxi? No, we don't. No, we don't pay the driver when we get in a taxi. We pay the driver when we get out of a taxi. In your country, do you have to buy a ticket before getting on a bus? In your country, do you have to buy a ticket before getting on a bus? No, in my country. No, in my country, I don't have to buy a ticket before getting on a bus. I can buy the ticket on the bus. How much is the bus fare from here to where you live? How much is the bus fare from here to where you live? The bus fare. The bus fare from here to where I live is about 20 crowns. Royal is something to do with kings and queens. Every monarchy has a royal family. The Great Britain has a royal family. Has your country got a royal family? Has your country got a royal family? No, my country doesn't. No, my country doesn't have a royal family. Mud, countryside. Countryside is the opposite of a city. The place with villages, farms, and so on, that's the countryside. Mud is typically in the countryside, for example, when you have a field and it's raining, the ground becomes wet and soft and it's brown, and if you walk in it, it covers your shoes. That's what we call mud. And we get mud on our shoes, typically by walking in the countryside in the rain. How do we get mud on our shoes? How do we get mud on our shoes? We get mud. We get mud on our shoes by walking in the countryside in the rain. Crowd, crowd, crowded, crowded. Crowd is a large number of people in an area. For example, at a rock concert, there are crowds of people. Or when a famous celebrity walks in the street, they're typically followed by crowds of people. And crowded doesn't have to be such a large amount of people, but it simply means that there's too many people for a small place. Or it doesn't have to be just small place. But for example, if you're on a bus in the morning, typically the buses are crowded, which means they're full of people. Or if you are in a room which is comfortable for about 5 people, if you put 20 people in there, it will be crowded. Are famous actors often surrounded by crowds when they go out in public? Are famous actors often surrounded by crowds when they go out in public? Yes, famous actors. Yes, famous actors are often surrounded by crowds when they go out in public. Are the buses in this town usually crowded in the morning? Are the buses in this town usually crowded in the morning? Yes, the buses. Yes, the buses in this town are usually crowded in the morning. Captain, captain, team, team. Team is a group of people who are working together. And it can also be a football team or hockey team. And captain is a leader of these people. So every football team has a captain. And captain can also be a sea captain, like Captain Cook or Captain Nemo. Have you ever been the captain of a sports team? Have you ever been the captain of a sports team? No, I've never. No, I've never been the captain of a sports team. Tell me the name of a famous sea captain. Tell me the name of a famous sea captain. The name. The name of a famous sea captain is, for example, Captain Cook. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow. This is wide, this is narrow. Wide, narrow, they're opposites. Which is the widest street in the place where you live and which is the narrowest? Which is the widest street in the place where you live and which is the narrowest? The widest street. The widest street in the place where I live is Masarykova Street, and the narrowest is Tichého Street, for example. Flag, flag, national, national. Flag is a symbol of a country. For example, the flag of the United States of America includes, I think, 13 red and white stripes and 50 stars on a blue field. That's the flag of America. And national is something that belongs to a nation. So that's the American national flag. What color is the flag of your country? What color is the flag of your country? The flag. The flag of my country is red, white, and blue. Do you know the origin of your national flag? Do you know the origin of your national flag? No, I don't. No, I don't know the origin of my national flag. Grass, grass, live on, live on. Grass is this green plant which grows everywhere. Typically, people like to have some grass in their garden. And live on something is typically used when some animal eats a specific kind of meals or a specific kind of food to live. So for example, cows live on grass, or horses live on grass, and for example, lions live on zebras and other animals. It's their diet, what they eat. And if I say John lives on pasta, it means that John only eats pasta. Name an animal that lives on grass, please. Name an animal that lives on grass. An animal. An animal which lives on grass is, for example, a horse. What happens to grass if there's no rain? What happens to grass if there's no rain? If there's no rain. If there's no rain, grass becomes yellow and then it dies. Tower, tower. Tower is a tall building, for example, the Eiffel Tower. Or every church has a tower, so a church tower is also a tower. Where is the nearest tower to the place where you live? Where is the nearest tower to the place where you live? The nearest. The nearest tower to the place where I live is the church tower. Wet, wet, dry, dry. Wet and dry are opposites. When it rains, the ground is covered in water or the ground is wet. And when it doesn't rain and it's sunny, the ground is dry. Are the streets dry when it rains? Are the streets dry when it rains? No, the streets. No, the streets aren't dry when it rains. The streets are wet when it rains. If you walked in the rain without an umbrella, what would happen? If you walked in the rain without an umbrella, what would happen? If I walked in the rain without an umbrella, I'd get wet. If you got wet, what you have to do with your clothes? If you got wet, what you have to do with your clothes? If I got wet, I'd have to take my clothes off and hang them up to dry. Through, through. Through is the past of throw. Yeah, like throw. So throw, through. What's the past of throw? What's the past of throw? The past. The past of throw is through. What would happen if I threw a stone at the window? What would happen if I threw a stone at the window? If you threw a stone at the window, you'd break the window. Loud, loud, turn up, turn up, turn down, turn down. So loud is the opposite of quiet. Quiet and loud. Yeah, these are opposites. Turn up and turn down are also opposites, and we use it with the volume. So when you're watching the television, for example, you can turn up the volume and you can turn down the volume. Make it quiet, go down, turn down. Make it loud, turn up. If your TV is turned up too loud, what do you do? If your TV is turned up too loud, what do you do? If my TV is turned up too loud, I turn it down. Consequently, protect. Protect, for example, an umbrella protects me from the rain. And consequently is like because of that. For example, I didn't have an umbrella and it was raining. Consequently, I got wet. And now there's a little bit of grammar, and that's reflexive pronouns. So reflexive pronouns, we use them when the subject and object are the same person or thing. For example, in the sentence, the teacher taught me, the subject and the objects are different people. But in the sentence, I taught myself, the subject and the object are the same person. And so consequently, we use the reflexive pronoun myself as an object. So the reflexive pronouns are as follows: myself, myself, yourself, yourself, himself, himself, herself, herself, itself, itself, oneself, oneself, ourselves, ourselves, yourselves, yourselves, themselves, themselves. And these are the reflexive pronouns. Note one important thing here. This is one of very few situations, or the only situation, where we have plural for the second person. We have singular yourself and we have plural yourselves. So there's a distinction. You should know that. What are the reflexive pronouns? What are the reflexive pronouns? The reflexive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, oneself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. When do we use a reflexive pronoun? When do we use a reflexive pronoun? We use a reflexive pronoun when the subject and the object are the same person or thing. Is it right to say I looked at me in the mirror? Is it right to say I looked at me in the mirror? No, it isn't. No, it isn't right to say I looked at me in the mirror. Why not? Because the subject and the object are the same person. What must we say instead? What must we say instead? We must say I looked at myself in the mirror instead. Do you think it'll be easy for me to teach myself Chinese? Do you think it'll be easy for me to teach myself Chinese? No, I don't think. No, I don't think it'll be easy for you to teach yourself Chinese. Why not? Because it's a difficult language. Did you wash yourself when you were a baby? Did you wash yourself when you were a baby? No, I didn't. No, I didn't wash myself when I was a baby. My mother washed me. What'd you do if you saw a man trying to kill himself? What would you do if you saw a man trying to kill himself? If I saw a man trying to kill himself, I'd call the police. Have you ever seen a bird washing itself? Have you ever seen a bird washing itself? Yes, I've seen. Yes, I've seen a bird washing itself. Do you think one can teach oneself a language? Do you think one can teach oneself a language? Yes, I think. Yes, I think one can teach oneself a language. What do we carry to protect ourselves from the rain? What do we carry to protect ourselves from the rain? We carry an umbrella to protect ourselves from the rain. And that's all for this lesson. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.